guys, so today I am doing the second installment in this new series that I'm trying out on my channel. What have I been consuming? Specifically now for the month of August. I'm trying to figure out a name to rename this, like maybe Fandom Monthly, something like that. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the things that I read, watched in the month of August. I managed to read 3 books this month, which is what I had planned originally, so I call that a win. Thumbs up for that. Without further ado, let's get on to the first movie I watched in the month of August. The first movie I watched in August was Baby Driver with Ansel Elgort, Lily James. I really had a fun time with this movie. I think it was really well done. The chase, the scenes with the cars were the driving scenes were so intense. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I think it came out when a bunch of other movies came out, so I didn't get a chance to see it, and it took me now this long to finally see it, but I saw it and I really enjoyed it, and I gave Baby Driver an 8 out of 10 because I really liked it. The second and the third movie that I saw this month was I rewatched The Cheetah Girls and I rewatched Cheetah Girls 2. So I grew up with the Cheetah Girls, Hannah Montana, High School Musical, that early era. I grew up with all of those films. And I remember really being a hardcore Cheetah Girls fan. And going back and rewatching those films years and years later, they're not as bad as I thought. Disney Channel original movies back in the day used to be great, but I really like the Cheetah Girls movies, especially Cheetah Girls 2 where they go to Spain and Barcelona. I really like the second Cheetah Girls movie. I give the first Cheetah Girls a 7 out of 10 just because it's not my favorite of the 3, but it's my second favorite, and then I give Cheetah Girls 2 an 8 out of 10 because I really like it a lot. The first TV show that I watched this month was one that I was very highly anticipating. It was the third kind of story in this like tale story, and that was Whizzers! Tales of Arcadia. But I really enjoyed Whizzers. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It was really fun. It was interesting, but it pieces everything together and just adds to this wonderful world, these Tales of Arcadia that Guillermo del Toro has created. And we are getting a movie next year of all 3 together, which is so exciting. I cannot wait. Claire and Jim came back. Toby was here. We got to go to the medieval times and see Merlin and how Morgana and King Arthur came to be and how like all this happened, like the first troll battle at Killahead Bridge. We got to see how that went down. That was awesome. We got to meet this new character who came about, I believe it was in season 2 or season 3, Troll Hunters. Merlin's assistant, Dukesy, who was awesome. I love him. He's great. But if you love like ancient mythology, if you like awesome shows with interesting plots that intertwine and weave, if you like great characters, great magic, great plot, interesting dialogue, interesting characters, world building, fantasy, sci-fi, I highly recommend this show. Next movie that I watched this month was one I saw about 2 years ago. It came out, I believe, in 2018 on the day of my birthday. So we decided to rewatch it because we didn't really have anything else to watch. I like crappy shark movies, and this was no exception. We rewatched The Meg with Jason Statham in it, and I actually had a fun time with it. It's not a great movie. It's one of those cheesy, like, shark movies. It's cheesy, but in a good cheesy way. I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it's a fun shark movie. I enjoy it. Next TV show I watched this month was actually a second season to the first season that came out, I think, in 2018, and that was The Hollow Season 2. I really want to talk about The Hollow Season 2 in its own separate video because there was so much going on, because we didn't know what was going on, because if you've seen the first season, I can't really tell you anything about the first season because it's a spoiler for the whole show. But it's so interesting, the concept, the idea that they had, and they continued it and built upon it in season 2, and they just fleshed it out more. Did a big twist that I wasn't expecting. It was really interesting and I think well done. It seems to be very underrated from what I've seen on the internet, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it more. So I gave Hollow Season 2 a 7.5 out of 10 because I don't love it, but I don't like hate it, and I won't stop watching it if we get more seasons because it's very interesting. I want to see where they go with this whole concept and with these characters. The first book that I read this month was one that I have been waiting for 11 years, and that is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. It's here. have no idea what Midnight Sun is, you probably all know who Stephenie Meyer is. If you don't know what Midnight Sun is, because it's now becoming like a big thing now with Twilight fans, and why are Twilight fans freaking out about another Twilight book? Or why are they freaking out especially about Midnight Sun? Midnight Sun is the first Twilight book, you know, Twilight, from Edward's perspective, and it's a hefty book because he doesn't sleep. But those are like, why have people been saying they've been waiting like 11 plus years? Because Stephenie Meyer was writing Midnight Sun in 2008. In 2008, Breaking Dawn, the last book in the series, came out, and that's when the first Twilight movie came out. But a couple chapters got leaked, she stopped writing it and leaked the rest of the chapters that she had written on her website, and so she stopped writing it. And so people have been waiting since 2008 for her to release it. May of this year, she announced that it's finally gonna come out, and it came out on August 4th, and I read it, and I loved the hell out of this book. It was so great. I loved getting to see in Edward's mind and see his thinking process, and how does he process meeting Bella for the first time? How does he control his thirst? We can see a lot more of the Cullens as well, because there's a lot of time where he's away from Bella, or he's just observing her and she doesn't know he's there. The companion to Twilight, she doesn't say it's a sequel, but it almost kind of feels like a new book, because there's a lot of things that are either expanded upon from the first book, and there's a lot of scenes that are so different, and a lot of scenes that we have never saw before. But we get to see so much more of Edward's character and what he's thinking and how he deals with this whole I'm a vampire loving immortal, I could literally kill her whole ordeal. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I'm so happy we have it. I just want to treasure it. I have a vlog of me going to get Midnight Sun, and then I have a vlog of me reading Midnight Sun talking about my thoughts that I will link both in the description so you guys can watch if you're interested. The next movie that I saw was one that I wanted to go see in theaters, but you know, it didn't come out in theaters because, you know what, the C word, because that happened. That was Scoob the movie. You might not know this about me. I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan. I love Scooby-Doo. I kind of grew up with Scooby-Doo. I grew up with those 2 live-action movies and What's New Scooby-Doo. So that was my Scooby-Doo. I've seen every episode of every Scooby-Doo show you can possibly imagine. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I think Zac Efron was great as Fred. They had Frank Welker be Scooby, so I was happy about that. I think it was a really fun movie. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I think if you're a fan of Scooby-Doo and you just want to see more, I highly recommend. I think it's a really fun movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I really had a fun time with it. The next movie that I saw this month was kind of an impulse watch, because I kind of wanted to watch it, but I didn't really have a huge desire to watch it. But then my mom was like, I want to watch it, so we watched it. The High Note with Dakota Johnson. So I really enjoyed The High Note. It's not like anything groundbreaking, and I definitely don't think I'd watch it again just because it's not my type of movie. I think it was an interesting movie. It was an interesting story. I give it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't watch it again, but I thought it was good. The next book that I read this month was Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. This is the sequel to Renegades. I believe I read last month, but I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it a little bit more than the first one. There was a lot more twists and turns and a lot more going for this book than the first one. Not that I don't like the first one, I really enjoyed the first one, but I really enjoyed this one. Really having to process things and really look at things from a different perspective, and a lot of like inner thinking and critical thinking. And I'm excited for book 3. I gave this one an 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it a lot. Next show that I watched, and that was season 3 of Agretzko. It is by the company Sanrio that made Hello Kitty, so you know it's gonna be cute, but it's more for adults. Cute little animals having to go through adulting in life. So it's the struggles of cute animals working in the workforce and dealing with adult situations like car accidents, bills, not being able to pay money, working slavish jobs. I really enjoyed season 3 of Agretzko. I really liked it. I think I liked it more than the first 2 seasons. Haida, I love Haida so much. I can't even tell you. I hope it gets a season 4 because it deserves a season 4. I give it an 8 out of 10. It was really a fun show. I really enjoyed it. Next movie that I saw this month was the first movie I got to see back in theaters. Yay! We've been in the middle of a pandemic, and theaters have been closed probably since March, including my own, and they just reopened this past weekend, and they've been showing older movies because obviously there's not really any newer movies coming out, and one of them was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first Harry Potter film. Showing that at my local theater, and I've never seen the first 3 Harry Potter films in theater, so I hope my movie theater doesn't close again. I gave Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone an 8 out of 10. I really like the first Harry Potter. It's not my favorite of the 8, but I really like the whole going to Diagon Alley scene, and when they're exploring all the shops and him getting his wand from Ollivander's. Oh, it's so iconic. I love it so much. The third and final book that I read in the month of August was The Damned by Renee Ahdieh. This is the second book, Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, which is about vampires in the 1800s in New Orleans. It's more like regal, seductive, kind of like the old school, like alluring vampires, if you will. Not like the sparkly Twilight vampires. If you like vampires minus the Twilight vampires, you will enjoy this. Even if you like the Twilight vampires, you will enjoy this. If you like paranormal romance, if you like supernatural beings, if you like romance, and you like vampires, I recommend these books. They're really good. I really liked this one. Gave it a 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. The next movie I watched was kind of another, like, just on the whim. My mom has been trying to catch up on the Marvel films because there's a big chunk of Marvel films she hasn't seen. The other night we watched the first Captain America. She loved it so much that she was like, okay, in the same night we finished the first one at like 9:30. And she was like, okay, can we watch the second one right now? We ended up watching in the same night the second Captain America Winter Soldier. We had like a Captain America night, which was fine with me. It's either been since 2018 or 2019 since I've seen the first Captain America, but I really liked the first Captain America. It's definitely not my least favorite of the Captain Americas. I think Civil War, as much as I really do and love Civil War, I think Civil War is my least favorite of the Captain America trilogy. I really do like the first Captain America, so I give the first Captain America an 8 out of 10. I really liked it. It's a really fun intro to Captain America. Now rewatching it after Know What Happens to Captain America in Endgame, he's come so freaking far. He used to be this scrawny kid from Brooklyn, and now he's like went back in time to now be with his lost love, and it's just like, oh my god, the things that he's gone through, my god. Now my mom knows who the Winter Soldier is, and she feels so bad for Bucky now. Captain America 2 Winter Soldier is my favorite Captain America. You cannot change my mind. I don't know what it is about Winter Soldier, but the first time I saw it in theaters, I freaking loved it, and rewatching it again recently, it's just made my love for it even stronger. The direction, the plot, the dialogue, just like the pacing of the film, and like the choreographing for the fights, the action, the car chases, like the fighting choreography is so good. Like, you can see every character has their own distinct fighting. Captain America usually uses his shield and tries to like use his war techniques. Black Widow is usually sneaky and does kind of like the undermining of a character in the fight. She tries to go for your vulnerable spot. Whereas Falcon kind of uses a lot of more like fighting techniques from like that he'd use in the air. Winter Soldier uses a lot of guns and like assassin training stuff. So they each have their own fight scenes, and it keeps working and staying the same in the next few films. I love Winter Soldier. I give it a 9 out of 10. It's just, I love Winter Soldier. Captain America Winter Soldier. It is so good. The second to last film that I saw in August was a film that was a Disney Plus original, and it was a film to a TV show that I watched all 4 seasons of back in the day. Phineas and Ferb's new movie, the movie Candace Against the Universe. This was a really fun movie. It really had an interesting plot, and I got it. Like, Candace feels like her brothers are ruining everything for her because she can never bust them. She always feels like she's always getting undermined by them. She feels like the universe is against her in a sense, which makes sense because she just wants to bust her brothers one time and like feel important and feel like the universe is not against her, which makes perfect sense. It's kind of her story of how the universe isn't really against her, but it is. But it's a really fun movie, and if you watched Phineas and Ferb back in the day and you enjoyed it, I would recommend this film. It has a really good brother-sister siblings kind of message. It made me cry at the end, so you know it's gotta be good. And the original voice cast was there, so that was exciting. I really enjoyed it. I give it an 8 out of 10. It was a fun movie. I definitely watch it again. And the last movie we watched to wrap up the Captain America trilogy was Civil War! I told my mom that she couldn't watch this until she watched Age of Ultron because, you know, the whole Sokovia Accords and all that stuff kind of portrays and kind of happens before, you know, Civil War. She was confused on quite a few things, and I remember she just couldn't get over the fact that all this fighting was happening. A couple times where she was like, stop fighting and just talk, and I'm like, but they don't want, they're not gonna talk, you don't understand. There's good moments, there's good character moments, there's good scenes. I love Bucky and Cap reuniting. I love Falcon's moments. Tony's great in this film. I like Ant-Man's whole like arc. Spider-Man's in the film. Black Panther's in the film. It's great. Some of the chase scenes, like when they're going through that tunnel after Cap's on Bucky and they're going through the tunnel, and then they're fighting in the tunnel with the cars and Black Panther's there and Falcon's there. That whole chase scene is so cool. When Bucky gets on the motorcycle and twists it around and gets back on it, that is so dope. I enjoyed Civil War. I gave it a 7.8 out of 10. I don't love it, but I don't hate it, but it's not my least favorite Marvel film. So that was all of the movies, books, and TV shows I read in the month of August. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys with another video very soon. Bye, guys!